CBS 6 News at 11 starts now.
A staff member of Virginia's Democratic Party is now facing serious charges after being accused of distributing child pornography. This is the news at 11. I'm Janine Samuels. Crime insider John Burkett shares what charges Randon Sprinkle is facing and reaction from his colleagues. Now, we do want to warn you that some of the details in this story are disturbing.
Monday afternoon at the federal courthouse behind me in downtown Richmond, Randon Sprinkle will face a judge at a preliminary hearing for the charge of distribution of child pornography. A 9-page affidavit. The feds say it spells out a conversation 30-year-old Democratic staffer Randon Alexander Sprinkle had with an undercover FBI agent on May 22nd, adding Sprinkle popped up under the name Randy on the Jacked app and asked the agent to take it to Telegram, where he allegedly typed mostly into young, rape, incest, you, followed by a conversation you'll just have to read for yourself in the charging documents posted on WTVR.com. Here's our legal expert, Ed Riley.
Additional interactions, online interactions that they were able to trace back to that individual, and it's the FBI. They're sophisticated. They are able to do reverse tracking to determine whose IP address it is and those types of things.
And who it came back to is sending shockwaves through political ranks in Richmond and beyond. City Council Vice President Catherine Jordan tells me he served in a professional capacity as my 2024 campaign treasurer, which involved filing my campaign forms and assisting with campaign events and follow-up financial reporting. What has been alleged is disgusting and abhorrent. I'm shocked and sickened. First District Council member Andrew Breton also used his services. He says, quote, our campaign paid him to compile and file our finance reports and to assist with event logics. The allegations are shocking and disturbing. I am grateful that law enforcement is involved and that justice is taking its course. Congresswoman Jennifer McClellan also posed with Sprinkle in several photos he posted on X. Her spokesman, Jared Leopold, tells me Congresswoman McClellan is shocked by these appalling accusations, which should be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. Sprinkle, once a leader in the Young Democrats of Virginia and a financial director for the party, has ties to many Virginia Democratic candidates. Seen in a photo with Governor-elect Abigail Spanberger. I reached out to her press reps, but they haven't responded.
They may have found some additional information that was distributed, or they have the peer-to-peer network kind of things that these guys can send out and will exchange video files, they'll exchange pictures, that type of thing.
The FBI affidavit confirms 68 files extracted in a forensic sweep of Sprinkle's electronic devices, some with troubling titles. With one charge of distribution of child porn, he faces a mandatory minimum of 5 years if convicted, and sentencing could rise to 20.
If they find the images and they can connect you to the images, you're not dealing with the merits of the case anymore. You're dealing with the resolution that it's going to be. Sprinkle
was first housed at the Richmond Justice Center in downtown Richmond, but he has since been transferred to the Northern Neck Regional Jail in Warsaw. In downtown Richmond, John Burkett, CBS 6 News.
Rhode Island officials say the man accused of shooting and killing 2 Brown University students, including a Midlothian high school grad, also killed an MIT professor days later. Police say they found the suspect, Claudio Nieves Valente, dead of a self-inflicted gunshot wound in a New Hampshire storage facility last night. The 48-year-old Portugal native is believed to have killed 2 Brown University students and injured 9 others, and also killed MIT professor Nuno Loureiro 2 days later in Brookline, Massachusetts. Valente was a former Brown student in 2000 and 2001, and he attended the same university in Portugal as the MIT professor in the late 90s. Authorities say they are still searching for a motive in the shooting. The Chesterfield School Board released a statement about the Midlothian and Clover Hill graduates who were shot in the attack at Brown University. Speaking about Muhammad Umerzukov, who was killed, and Matthew Wang, who was injured, the board said, quote, since the shooting at Brown University, there has been an outpouring of concern, support, and love for Muhammad and Matthew that reminds us all that we are a community of lives woven together and that connect connecting with each other is vital for us all. We'll have the board's full statement on our website, WTVR.com. For a third year, a basketball tournament is being held in memory of two Chesterfield teens who died in a 2023 crash. Money raised from the tournament will be used for scholarships that promote safe teen driving. Our Cameron Thompson spoke with the boys' moms on how they're expanding the scholarship and the new way they're honoring their sons.
And it's in such a beautiful place that
For Rebecca Hammett,
it's not a place to come and mourn.
this spot on the James River is a place to remember, reflect, and think about what if.
I think about them. I think about where they would be. I think about what they should be doing.
As it's where a bench sits in Robius Landing Park in memory of her son, Will Hammett, and his best friend, Nick Booth.
Both boys loved to come to the James River. They would go camping with their friends at certain spots around the James River.
The bench faces west, paying tribute to their love of sunsets and one of Hammett's favorite photos of the two.
Looking up at the train bridge from a little island that they were on with the sunset behind.
It also carries a message for all who see it. Drive safely, someone loves you.
It's a very easy way to say you need to think about the impact that you out driving safely every day has on your friends and your family.
An impact Hammett knows firsthand as the teens were killed in a high-speed crash in 2023 on Old Gun Road.
It's really important. I mean, our hearts break every time we see another teen has died in an accident because it's such a preventable thing.
Since their deaths, the two families have become advocates for safe teen driving, taking part in campaigns with police, and an annual 3-on-3 basketball tournament at their school, James River High, with this year's happening January 2nd. It supports 2 college scholarships for students there, and it requires a clean driving record and an essay on how they work with kids, something the boys did as camp counselors.
It's an amazing group of teens, seniors, all with different aspirations.
The group of 4 of us that really stood up and hung out with them every day, first period, and we also did Special Olympics.
One of the first recipients, Braden Forrester, spoke of his work with special needs students at James River and is using the scholarship to attend JMU. He knew Nick and Will through the lacrosse team and says their deaths changed how they saw driving.
I remember all of us in the group chat just not thinking it was real. We all wear our seatbelts, we all try and go within the speed limit. Those deaths that did not need to be caused really impacted our mental status on how we like to drive.
Hammett says this year the scholarship is growing from $2,500 to $5,000, and one of the 2 is reserved for a trade school student.
We know a lot of kids are going in that direction and they aren't necessarily supported, and trade schools cost money too.
But she says while the scholarship is changing, the underlying message remains the same one on this bench. Drive safely, someone loves you.
For 2 young kids with so much potential to die in such a preventable way is heartbreaking. So it's a good place to ponder what they would be doing and what they could have been, but also to think about how important it is to continue to spread this message and try to save other parents the heartbreak.
Now, organizers are still asking for some sponsorship help for the tournament, but the deadline for that is tonight. But teams have until December 30th to sign up, or you can just make a donation online. We'll have a link for that on our website. In Chesterfield County, Cameron Thompson, CBS 6 News.
A small community is coming together in a big way with fried fish and giving hearts. Join Sunshine and Wayne tomorrow for a fish fry fundraiser to support the Otay family who lost everything in a devastating house fire in May. Your donation and your appetite will help Annette Otay and her mother and brother move forward. It's from 12 to 4 at JTS Barbershop on New Kent Highway in Quinton. You can head to WTVR.com to learn more and donate to the GoFundMe page set up to help this family rebuild. Remembering those who made the ultimate sacrifice. Next, and all new at 11, our Greg McQuaid introduces us to an author sharing the story of a unique grave adoption program overseas that's honoring fallen American soldiers. Julie?
I'm meteorologist Julie Watkins. We saw some very strong winds today. Those have since died down. Looking at our normals, 51 and 32. We're going to get closer to that as we head into the weekend, if not a little bit above. And we did pick up a good amount of rain at the International Airport. That's a breakdown of what happened today. We're going to take you through the rest of the weekend and into Christmas week coming up.
At the end of World War II, Americans rejoiced that the fighting was over. But for thousands of families, their soldier never came home from overseas. In Greg McQuaid's latest Heroes Among Us, he and photographer Curtis Akers introduce us to the author, who is on a mission to connect families of the fallen with grateful citizens of another nation who have not forgotten the sacrifices made more than 80 years ago.
It measures only 65 acres, but this cemetery is one of the most solemn pieces of real estate in U.S. history.
These are young people usually that have had their whole life in front of them.
Row after row of crosses stand at attention inside Netherlands American Cemetery at Magraten, where thousands of soldiers and airmen from World War II rest.
It reminds us of the things in life that truly matter.
What separates Magraten from other American Battle Monuments Commission cemeteries, each and every grave and name on the wall of the missing were adopted by Dutch citizens at the close of the war.
Leave your boys with us. We'll watch over them like our own forever. A forever promise.
Author Robert Edsel says it was a way of thanking America for liberating the Netherlands from 5 years of tyranny.
And no country has demonstrated a fidelity to the United States and a gratitude to the United States at the level that the Dutch have.
Edsel details the unique adoption program in his new book, Remember Us.
Magraten is, for me, field of dreams.
The best-selling writer who penned
Monuments Men.
I'm to put a team together and do our best to protect buildings, bridges, and art before the Nazis destroy everything.
Which was turned into a major motion picture, says what unfolded in the Netherlands in 1944 is still carried on generations later.
At this moment, I'm the third generation adopters. When a grave is in the family, mostly it stays in the family.
Ben Savulku cares for the grave of U.S. soldier Michael DeFabio from Rhode Island, who was just 25 when he was killed in April of 1945.
It's unbelievable what they did. They came from another country to liberate us. That's unbelievable.
Ben decorates Michael's grave on all holidays, including the soldier's birthday.
And they give their life for us, you know, and that's yeah, it's hard. And they were all young boys. Most of them were in their 20s. It gives me the goosebumps, you know.
Ben's a hero. Ben doesn't have to do that. Ben's a busy guy. When you see the sense of dedication to them and this conviction, because they look at these soldiers out there as my soldier, my airman, my tanker, my boy.
To connect families of fallen American soldiers with Dutch adopters across the Atlantic, Robert Edsel is launching the Forever Promise Project.
But those boys belong to the Dutch. They belong to American families too, and that's what our Forever Promise Project's all about, is making people aware that there are people here that want to connect with you.
In just 3 months, Forever Promise has united relatives of more than 400 soldiers with the people looking over their loved one's grave.
And there is no other nation that's gone to greater lengths to show their fidelity and gratitude to the United States than the Kingdom of the Netherlands. And I am so grateful to have had the privilege of telling this story.
On this night, Edsel shares his mission at the home of the Netherlands ambassador in Washington, D.C.
They're out there, and they're not out there begrudgingly, and they're not out there because of duty. They're out there because of love. They're out there of love and gratitude.
And the people that adopt those graves are making sure that those graves look as good as they were in '44.
Defense Attaché Air Commodore Erwin van Bellew is not surprised his fellow Dutch carry on this tradition because the Americans gave so much to liberate their home.
It's very important. because when they are forgotten, they die for the last time. And we must prevent that with all the means that we have. And
at Netherlands American Cemetery, the memory of so many soldiers remain in loving hands, thanks to a grateful people who now live in freedom.
And here we are 81 years later. All 10,000 graves, 8,300 graves, 1,700 names of walls and the missing have been watched over without cessation this entire time period. I mean, what does a promise mean anymore? What it means to the Dutch is forever means forever.
For heroes among us,
you have a moment of transcendent remembrance, gratitude, and grace.
I'm Greg McQuaid, CBS 6 News.
I know many of us felt it, but I wanted to show you the numbers that we had with the wind gust earlier today. Boy, it was blowing out there with that cold front moving through. We saw a gust of 43 miles an hour. That was the maximum for our Friday. 44-mile-per-hour wind gust in Petersburg. Keep in mind, tropical storm force winds started at about 39, so we were over that for a lot of areas along I-95 and heading towards the Chesapeake Bay and Atlantic Ocean. And even as we head into Northern Virginia, those winds were gusting over 35 miles an hour. Luckily, they're pretty much diminished, so it is much quieter out there at this hour. But it's definitely turning cold. We're seeing that temperature just steadily falling off. In fact, our warmest portion of the day was early this morning, and then temperatures each and every hour just getting lower and lower. So we're at 43. But that dew point is also very low, 17 degrees, just an indication that a very dry air mass is on top of us, which means good setup to the weekend. We are going to feature lots of sunshine, barely a cloud out there, and then also no major storm systems on the way. All right, the winter is actually going to kick off here this weekend. It officially starts on Sunday, but it's not exactly going to feel like it. Even though we've got a cold start to our day tomorrow, it's going to be more seasonable by afternoon with that temperature near 50 and then getting warmer on Sunday with those highs nudging into the low 60s. And looking ahead over the next 7 days, it is going to be a winterless wonderland out there because no storm systems to provide us any snow. In fact, we just have one chance, and that's to see a little bit of rain, and not many of us will see that. So overall, a dry stretch of weather, and then it's not even going to be that cold around here. We've got a couple of cold spouts in there, but the majority of the days are actually going to be mild. And as we go past Monday, each and every day will be getting warmer and warmer until we peak near 70 degrees by the end of it. So currently we're seeing temperatures. We've got close to freezing for Orange, also back through Stanton and Culpeper. We're still hovering in the 40s, though, for Ashland and Richmond, and then points eastward, but we anticipate lots of 20s for the Commonwealth to kick off the day tomorrow morning, and then 50s as we begin to move towards that 3-4 o'clock hour. It's going to be the warmest portion of the day. The winds are going to continue out of the south on Sunday, so we're still looking at those temperatures above freezing for Sunday morning and even warmer to near 60 degrees for Richmond, right at 61 for Petersburg, and so a lot more warmth the farther south you go. However, we've got another cold front that's going to move through Sunday night, and that's going to give us a chilly setup to our day on Monday. But two of the main weather features, that area of low pressure, it brought us the cold front with the rain, so we accumulated about an inch and a half at the International Airport from this morning. That moved off right around 11 o'clock, and then that high pressure is going to be the weather feature for at least the next 2 days, if not 3 days, because again, Monday is going to feature a lot of sunshine as well. So our hour by hour, you can see that just a few passing clouds on Saturday. We're going to notice when that cold front moves through by 9-10 o'clock, and then the clouds move offshore. So partly sunny on average going into our Sunday, and then mostly sunny on Monday. That's going to be your coldest day, 43. Your warmest day, however, is going to be Friday. Looking at Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, I think it's going to be pretty pleasant out there. Just probably not a whole lot in the way of sunshine. Over to you guys.
All right, thank you, Julie. So we have some Virginia Union news.
Big news, historic news over on Lombardi Street. They are probably still celebrating after the historic announcement that took place this afternoon. We'll have it after the break.
Ooh, ooh, ooh.
CBS 6 Sports, sponsored by Toyota.
We begin with college football. JMU will have the chance to pull off arguably the biggest upset in the 11-year history of the college football playoff when they face 5th-seeded Oregon in Eugene Saturday night. The Dukes are a 3-touchdown underdog against a Ducks team whose only loss was to number 1 Indiana, coached by former JMU head coach Curt Cignetti. Nobody outside of Harrisonburg is giving JMU much of a chance, and according to the team, doubt can't creep into their mind before kickoff.
you can't psych yourself out and lose a game before you start the game. You have to remember just base day one why you started playing this game as a kid. I think if you were to ask everybody on this team, especially, this generation, this era, who was your favorite football team growing up, people probably say Oregon. I was one of those kids that grew up watching Oregon. And so this is environments that you dream of playing in.
Closer to home in his only season as Virginia Union starting running back, Curtis Allen rewrote the program's record books and won several awards because of his on-field accomplishments, including the biggest individual honor in Division II.
The 39th Harlan Hill Trophy as Division II College Football Player of the Year is Curtis Allen from Virginia Union University.
Allen became the first player from an HBCU to win the Harlan Hill Award, the Division II equivalent to the Heisman. He finished 82 votes ahead of the second-place finishers and broke a 10-year streak of quarterbacks winning the award. Allen set a new Division II single-season rushing mark of 2,409 yards in just 12 games, along with a nation-leading 30 rushing touchdowns, which also broke the CIAA single-season mark.
It really sounds crazy because, I ain't gonna lie, I really thought Jada won last year, but I found out he was a finalist, but I thought he won. So, for me to actually win it, that's actually kind of crazy because, I feel like Jada could have possibly better running back than me, I just took what he did and did a little bit, what I'm saying? He gave me a sauce, I did a little bit, better than him.
Allen made the trip across campus to Barco Stevens to see the hottest team in the CIAA, Virginia Union, play host to Johnson C. Smith. Union led by 30 at the half and continued to pour it on before in the second behind former Manchester standout Noah Richardson-Keys, the steal in the finish as Union was up 56-18. Then Taj Harding makes the Golden Bulls pay for leaving them open. Union's up 44 at that point. Anthony Williams for Johnson C. Smith hits a corner three, but they were just 3 of 19 from distance. 15 different Panther players scored in their 88-36 win, their 11th in a row. VCU's women, part of this year's For the Culture Holiday Hoops Classic against undefeated Georgia and former Manchester standout Mia Woolfolk at the Henrico Sports and Events Center. The Panther VCU trailed by 3 going into the fourth quarter, but were outscored 28-11 in the final stanza as they fall to Georgia 72-53. That is the latest from the Toyota Sports Desk.
All right, how's it looking?
Yeah, it's looking pretty nice for the weekend as we're dealing with some sunshine out there, and then looking like a little bit of shower activity for Tuesday.
We'll take it. Thanks for joining us.
CBS 6 closed captioning is sponsored by Arby's.
Applewood smoked ham, 2 for $7, ham and Swiss melts. Arby's, we have the meats.